Hello everybody, welcome back to Daily Dictation 52. It will be another intermediate lesson, longer than DD 51. But we need to first go to DD 51, and it's a woman describing what she sees every day in her city of Denver. Listen carefully.
There's people running and walking their dogs and having brunch on the patios.
Okay, there were some problems for some people, but basically people got the idea. There's people running and walking their dogs and having brunch on the patios. So let's discuss this. There's people. The word there's, we say it really, really fast. There's, no, it's really short. There's people. There's people running. There's people running, and so she's imagining what she sees. There's people running and running and running and. Now, the and, very rarely do we say and? Almost always n. So it almost sounds like en. And, no, n, like engine. Running. There's people running. Now I have a question. What is the difference between running and jogging? Yes, there is a difference. Running, people who run have a purpose, or they have an objective. They run for time. For example, in a race, if they're running a 10-kilometer race, they have a goal. This time I will run in less than 40 minutes. Last time I ran it in 42 minutes. This time, 39 minutes and 30 seconds. So they have a goal for time. Or they have a goal for place. In other words, people who run almost always have a competitive reason. They're training for something, for time or for place. People who jog just do it for enjoyment, for stress release, or for their health, maybe to lose weight or to improve their overall health. So my dad, he was a jogger. Every day my dad would go jogging, and he would run for about an hour, but he'd run a little bit and then he'd walk and then he'd run. He didn't worry about speed, he didn't worry about time, and he never joined a race. But my sister, she's a runner. She likes running. And she runs the marathon, 42.195 kilometers, or 26.2 miles. And my sister is really good. My sister runs a marathon in less than 3 hours. That's really good. My sister's tough. She's a runner. She runs for time and for place. So the purpose of running is different for my dad and for my sister. My sister's a runner. My dad is a jogger. Me, on the weekends, I do a little bit of hiking in the local mountains or hills. What about you? Do you run or do you jog? Do you want to run? Do you want to jog? Let me know. So, in Denver, I look out my window and there's people running and walking their dogs. I think you understand. Walking their dogs. Now, when we say this quickly, here the N kills the D, and here the NG can actually kill the TH. So, walking there, walking there. If we say it really fast, walking there, walking there, walking there. And it sounds like walking there. There's two N's, an NG and an N. Walking there. Walking their dogs. Dogs? No. Dogs. Dogs. This is an AW sound for most Americans. Dogs. Walking their dogs. So walking their dogs and walking their dogs and here having. But actually she says haven. Haven. So it sounds like ha and then a vun. Vun. So it's basically a schwa sound. Haven. Haven. Heaven. Having brunch. Having brunch on the patios. And here too, on the N and the TH, like the NG and the TH, if we say it quickly, it sounds like on the. On the. Brunch on the. Brunch. We have to connect. Brunch on the patios. Brunch on the patios. Brunch, you probably know brunch. Brunch, breakfast, lunch, in between. A late breakfast, an early lunch. Brunch. Brunch on the patios. What are patios? Well, one of our students asked, who was it? Are patios the same as yards? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot who asked. Patios and yards are actually different in the American definition. A patio usually is attached to the house, like this picture. This would be a patio. But in this video, the person is actually referring to the street side cafes and restaurants where they have tables outside the restaurant and people eat at the tables outside the restaurant. Like in this picture. And here these people are eating on patios. So that's the idea of a patio. It's similar to a deck or a porch. So patios, deck, porch, very similar in meaning. And usually we think of somebody's house and the backyard has a patio or a deck. But the front yard usually has the porch. Go to Google and images and type a house with a patio, a house with a deck, a house with a porch, and you should be able to find some good pictures to give you an idea. So, that's the story. There's people running and walking their dogs and having brunch on the patios. It sounds very nice. It sounds like a nice city. Let's listen 2 more times and see if you can say it the same.
There's people running and walking their dogs and having brunch on the patios. There's people running and walking their dogs and having brunch on the patios.
Okay, I've got to thank a bunch of you, especially You're So Great Shane sent a video showing what this person sees outside their house. Wow, they live in a small town in Illinois, and outside this person's house there's a little lake and there's snow and cornfields. It looks really nice. I'm so jealous. Outside my house, I see my car and another building. It's terrible. Also, U Cafe said he or she lives in northern Japan and there's snow all around him and it's really cold, minus 20 degrees. The Progressive Daniel, Danny's favorites, The Adu, TMA Cruel, Rosenluck, and Rafaro 2004 all sent great descriptions of what they see outside their house, in their neighborhoods, in their town. Thank you very much. Please look at what other people are writing and think about it and try to imagine what they have said. I really like it. I looked at and read everybody's responses, and you've given me a pretty good picture of what you see every day. Outside my house, I open the door and I see a street, sometimes people walking, a bunch of cars parked. It's really boring and terrible. Outside the place where I work, I see lots of people walking around, working, going to lunch, lots of business people in suits and ties, and they look busy. I really don't pay much attention. I remember my home back in Wisconsin, in northern Wisconsin, and outside my house I can see a big field and a lot of trees and grass and our dog running in the yard. There's a garden where my dad is growing vegetables, and of course I am cutting grass. Can you imagine what I'm seeing? I hope so. Okay, we need to move to DD52. Now, in America, the United States of America, January 16th is a national holiday for Martin Luther King Jr. He's a very famous American. He's famous because he was a leader for civil rights. And he was the main spokesperson for the African American population in the United States. And he was a very wonderful person. He was peaceful. He demonstrated against the government, but peacefully. And nowadays, around the world, especially to my friends in the Middle East, there are lots of demonstrations. And as far as I know, most of the people that are demonstrating are peaceful. Also in the Western countries, they have the Occupy Wall Street movement, lots of peaceful demonstrators. So this is a special day for a lot of people who are demonstrating for rights, human rights. It's important. So how is your government treating you? I hope you are happy in the country where you are. If you're not, think about Martin Luther King, and maybe you can make some positive changes. So, Martin Luther King. This is from VOA, Voice of America. It's a long sentence, but not too difficult. Listen carefully. Do the dictation. I will say hello to the new watchers after you do the dictation. Bye-bye.
Martin Luther King Jr.'s rise as a civil rights leader began in 1955 when he spearheaded the drive to desegregate public buses in Montgomery, Alabama. Martin Luther King Jr.'s rise as a civil rights leader began in 1955 when he spearheaded the drive to desegregate public buses in Montgomery, Alabama. Martin Luther King Jr.'s rise as a civil rights leader began in 1955 when he spearheaded the drive to desegregate public buses in Montgomery, Alabama. Martin Luther King Jr.'s rise as a civil rights leader began in 1955 when he spearheaded the drive to desegregate public buses in Montgomery, Alabama.
Okay, let's say hello to the new people, starting with Filat Kjell. Filat Kinner from Russia. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you. Candy Cane 2011-2012. Candy Cane 2011-2012. I like candy canes. It's a delicious Christmas candy. From the United States, Nice to meet you. Raug VK Kem. Raug VK Kem. From India. Raug VK Kem. What does that mean? Is that your name? I wonder. From India. Thank you very much for joining. Sajo Story. Sajo Story. From Korea. 반갑습니다. Green eggs and hamster. Green eggs and ham? No. Green eggs and hamster from the United States. This guy lives near my hometown in northern Wisconsin, and he has some beautiful videos of where I used to live. So if you're interested in seeing what I used to see out my backyard, you can go to Green Eggs and Hamster's site, YouTube site, Green Eggs and Hamster, and watch some of his videos. Two more people from Korea. We have MJ with you 09. MJ, is that like Make-ju, or is that Michael Jackson? I wonder. MJ with you 09. 반갑습니다. And Hey Jin 44. Hey Jin 44. Hey Jin, are you 44? What's the 44? Is that your age? You're probably the same age as me then. Wait a minute. Yeah, I guess, well, whatever. Nice to meet you, Hey Jin. From Russia, again, we have Andore. Andore. From Russia, nice to meet you. From the US, Social Danny Kim. Social Danny Kim, nice to meet you, Danny. From Iraq, we have Saif Kakao. Saif Kakao. Keiko Kakao? I wonder. Saif. From Mosul in Iraq. Thank you very much for joining the channel. This young man likes Kung Fu, and I watched your videos where you're using the nunchucks. Wow, you are really good. I'm impressed. Thank you for joining my channel, Saif. I don't know where this person is from, but the name is The Queen Viva. Queen. This person is a hardcore Queen fan. Bohemian Rhapsody. Beautiful song and lots of nice videos. 4 videos on Bohemian Rhapsody. Great music. Thanks for joining. Again from Russia, IV Potanina. IV Potanina 1. IV Potanina 1. Thank you very much for joining my channel. From the US, Picamo 1212. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining. From Saudi Arabia, M Rock Right. M Rock Right. Thank you very much for joining my channel. Down in Singapore, we have Ms. Newfish. Ms. Newfish, I love your ID. That's a great ID, Newfish. Thank you very much for joining. From Japan, we have UCafe 329. UCafe 329 from the northern part of Japan. Domo arigato. Thank you very much for joining. From India, Kalik Raman. Is that pronounced correctly? I hope so. Thank you very much for joining my channel. From Canada, No Promise 78. No Promise 78. 한국 친구시죠? 반갑습니다. Thank you for joining. Also from Korea, Ann Kim 84. Ann, thank you very much for joining my channel. From Taiwan, 再见. Oh, 아니요. 谢谢. Thank you for joining Maxwell 866. Maxwell 866. Maxwell, is that your child? The picture in your ID? Very, very cute. And finally, from Korea again, we have the Cyber Joa. Cyber Jojo. Cyber Joa. The Cyber Joa from Korea. He has his English name, Neo. Neo, as in from The Matrix. He lives in Ansan. And also, this person has many videos of his son, correct? Is that your boy? Very, very cute. Thank you all for joining my channel, and I hope that you learn and enjoy the lessons, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.